and welcome to the news that didn't make the news. How is everybody? Nice and hot would be my guess. Okay. The comments are turned on. So let us try to be on our best behavior. It's never the people subscribe to this channel that can't seem to control themselves. All right, let's see if I can move this without moving it all. Whew, it's hot in here. Okay, how's it going? What's going on with your internal fuse box? Are you blowing a fuse lately? Inquiring minds want to know. So I'm here to talk about our personal fuse box, the power surges that we are currently receiving. Okay, I've got 1 like, but 0 people watching as usual. Hello, Lisa. In a moment, I'm going to ignore and disregard the comments. It's really unfair to turn the comments for all of you sweet people who are here to give love and support. But there have been some really strange happenings here in the comments with people not subscribed to this channel. Yes. Hello. So, the intensity of solar flares is astronomical. I follow Pat Donworth on Facebook, but haven't had a chance to do or look at anything because I've been so insanely busy lately. But I keep seeing her notifications, and I looked at a couple of them, and I know the space weather has really been off the charts. Okay, so comments are on. If you're new or if you're not subscribed to this channel, I often do not interact with anybody watching or commenting. I appreciate your love, your support, and your honor, but it's always, comments are always a distraction for me. But recently, in the last couple weeks, the comments have been very distracting. So we will ignore and disengage from participating in that for that reason. I am burning up, but if I turn the air conditioner on, it'll be so loud you won't be able to hear me. So hello, and welcome to the news that didn't make the news. Are you blowing a fuse? Is your family blowing a fuse? Are your neighbors blowing a fuse? Do you know, or are you experiencing yourself or otherwise people blowing fuses around you? That is my question. Oh, I will notice when you are out walking, working outside, doing anything involved with nature, that you so often feel with less extremity the space weather that's actually going on. So when I'm outside, I sometimes hear it or feel it in a way, but it is not the same way that I feel it if I'm inside or on the phone or having it mixed with dirty electricity. Okay, so let's talk about that. And let's talk about the fact that we came here to move forward and we came here to proceed. And those proceedings don't always have answers. We don't always know where we're going. We don't always understand what we're doing. Because as way showers and workers with planet Earth and our sector of the universe, a lot of times the things that we do, or most of the time, the things that we do are energetically happening. Okay, so we have no proof of it. We have no conceptual or cerebral idea of what we're doing. We're simply, if we're going in the flow, we are simply following the energy of the higher dimensions to use that as our compass to allow and invite us to move around and do what we do in the 3D earth plane and on the 3D earth plane. We came here to move forward. We came here to proceed, and to proceed most of the time means we are feeling and moving our compass energetically with the changing energy and not understanding the physical reality or the consequences of how we are working the light, the frequency, and the energy until maybe a day later or a week later sometimes months later, depending on the significance. Okay, let me just fan myself here momentarily. Um, so, a lot going on with space weather, and I know the majority of you follow Pat Dunworth, so you probably know more about the space weather than I do. Now, if I let you look behind me for a moment here, you can see that once again, Tina Hammond is in a new location. This would be the 8th place I've been in 2 months. I've been here for 10 days and I'm finally starting to settle down and settle in. And boy, does it feel amazing. Instead of traffic or screaming neighbors, now all you can hear are birds. And you can probably hear them in the background as we speak. So we are here. We came here to proceed, to move forward without necessarily having the answers. We are to maneuver in 3D reality with our avatar as our compass, following the higher energy of the cosmos, the universe, the multiverse, and the omniverse, meaning most of the time until after the job is done. We're not sure exactly what we're doing. I finally have my own apartment. I got into manifestation mode like I have never been in my entire life. I was going back and forth with this lady about an apartment. She hadn't even shown me the apartment, and she was text messaging me her concerns about my income and all kinds of other things 2 days before I was supposed to come see the apartment. But I decided to go to the bank and withdraw the money or get a check for um, the deposit, even though I hadn't looked at the place and even though she had serious concerns about my financial well-being and stability, to put it politely. So I went to the bank and took out the check for the deposit anyway. So when I showed up here at 10:30, she was showing me the apartment, which my nosy butt had already gone online. And 10:30, I saw the apartment. 10:45, I signed the lease. At 10:45, she says to me, I hope it's not too forward, but the keys to the apartment are in my pocket. And I said, I hope you don't think I'm too forward because the check for the deposit is also in my pocket. So I looked at the place at 10:30. At 10:45, I had the keys in my hand, and by 11:30, I had started to move in. Okay, this energy, the solar flares, the cosmic energy really lends itself to a time of instant manifestation. Okay, so when these solar flares blow out parts and pieces of the ionosphere and change our atmosphere so drastically, our connection to the other side, to source, to the ancestors, to manifestation amps up in a way that you wouldn't believe unless you experiment and play around with it on your own. So here we are. Just to let you know, I am still doing personal readings. I know I've been absent from Facebook for doing tarot for probably 2 months, but it was really important for me to get in a place, be comfortable, and get back on track after that little excursion down the East Coast to bring us all to the highest possible timeline. That was incredibly important, and I have done this many times. I have given up, you know, my everything. Put my life in storage. I've done it twice now and completely just gone and worked on a higher timeline of releasing what no longer serves both self and humanity. 2017 was the west coast of the United States, and this year, in April of 2024, it was the East Coast, and that was imperative. How many millions of people could do this? I'm sure there are many, but how many people were going to do it, willing to do it, and we're just going to pack up, get in their car, and do it to create the highest timeline possible for planet Earth and humanity in our unity consciousness. This is super, super important. Okay, so you are the narrator of your own life. And what story are you telling people? Again, whenever we have extreme solar weather, our ability to manifest and change is almost instantaneous. As you know, I devoted my time and energy to the East Coast clearing, gave away the majority of my belongings, both clothes and furniture, and came back and got into this apartment and not only manifested almost a house full of furniture in a matter of days, but also people on Marketplace delivering it to me that said they would never deliver. So, whatever you think is possible in this energy. Now, I would say from looking briefly at Pat, we've had, I think, 3 X class flares and 1 almost X class flare in the last 48 hours, and somewhere around 6 to 9 M class flares. That energy is propelling you to make those choices and those decisions in a time of absolutely 1111, sped up, abundant manifestation. So, what story are you telling? Am I telling the story that I gave everything away? Sorry, sad me, I have nothing? No, I got an apartment from someone who didn't even think I was qualified to do so. I took the check and I was like, I want it, I'm moving in, I have it, here I am. House almost full of furniture. The only thing I'm missing is a couch. This was almost instantaneous for me. That being said, I can't remember the last time I had a day off. Today I was off, but I did a 3-hour reading for TJ Koval, who is 16 years old, and here to back up the older generation with what he knows to be true, and that is working in service for humanity through our own gifts, no matter what the challenge, despite the fact that we are working solely with the energy and not knowing where it leads to or how it's going to end up in physical reality. It doesn't matter. We do it because we believe in it. We have faith in it. We have faith that unity consciousness will survive, will thrive, and will take over this planet, and we can reform the things that no longer work for us. But what story we are telling ourselves, our neighbors, our friends, our coworkers plays a huge part in how quickly we can manifest right now. So the major thing that's going on right now is power surges that are directly connected to the solar flares. I have been talking about this for a while. When solar flares come in, you feel happy and blissed out. They assimilate to the body, a code is released, wisdom is gathered, epiphanies are had, and then that energy rises back up for release, and it doesn't feel as pleasant when it came in. But now we are actually having these back to back, closer together than I've ever seen this since I ever even heard that people were tracking space weather. Again, we've had 3 or 4 X class flares, I believe, in the last 4 or 5 days, and somewhere between, I think, 15 and 20 M class flares in the last 5 days. So we're not getting a breather from it, right? So it comes in, it feels euphoric or blissful or dynamic and amazing and magical, and then what needs to be released within the body is releasing. But as we are releasing this, the new space weather is hitting us. So every time we go to purge and release and transform, we have another surge coming from the sun, because this is part of the solar cycle that we're in. Okay, but what you need to know is that power surges can blow a fuse. When you have a power surge in your house, the fuse box will turn itself off, portions of it, maybe the whole fuse box, depending on how strong that is, and that is a safety mechanism for your house, right? So power surges coming from the sun, filtering through the body, are causing us in some ways to short circuit. Now, short circuiting for a healthy person may be, I can't work anymore today, I'm done with this, or I can't run 10 miles like I normally do, or I want to eat really healthy food when I don't normally do that. Those are the kinds of healthy fuse box blowings that I'm talking about. For an unhealthy person, a fuse box blow may come out in road rage or, violent, aggressive, angry behavior. But power surges from the sun hitting our body can blow a fuse within us. So solar flares come in, they fill your body with an electric charge. Your whole body is electricity and water. Your whole body is a fuse box, if you will, in an avatar. Okay, so power surges can blow that fuse. Anything that you are personally or internally, even if you don't share it, personally and internally fired up about will spark and come to the surface when we have a release from the body caused by these solar flares. Okay. And it's probably when it comes up and surfaces, it's probably also going to come out your mouth. And it's going to be different for some people. Some people may just say, you know what, I'm done working for the day, or I need more rest. Some people, it's much more angry, much more aggressive, all of that. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you can listen to the podcast that I'm doing right now instead of asking me what I'm talking about. Anybody that's new here, I don't interact with people past the first few minutes because I am very intent and insistent upon being at their channel with a message that needs to be delivered. And the message that gets delivered never comes from the third dimension, it comes from higher energy. Therefore, if I'm reading comments and going back and forth and I lose contact with the higher dimensions that are supplying the message that is coming through for you. If it's not for you or you're here for reasons other than the message, find another channel. There's lots of people talking about lots of things. So there's never a reason for anyone to sit and listen to something that's not interesting or ask what I'm talking about while I'm in the middle of talking, right? Know when to hold up, know when to walk away, know when to run. That's how the song goes. So your personal fuse box is there within you. It's there to catalyze you. When you course correct, you will stop blowing fuses. Okay. Now, the solar flares are never going to stop having an effect on you because you're not an ascended master, right? We're not to that point of manifestation yet. Okay. But again, blowing a fuse for a healthy person is going to look like, okay, now I need to take a nap, or now I need to eat heavier food, or I need to disengage from conversation, or I need to have a shorter work day, those kinds of things, instead of anger, rage, all of that stuff that can come. So we are all experiencing the solar energy. We cannot avoid or evade it as we are human beings in an avatar walking on planet Earth. So we're going to experience it. So, but everyone around you may not be experiencing it in the healthiest of ways or in a healthy way that you may be experiencing it. I'm not saying this in a judgmental way or asking you to even judge anybody and how they are experiencing it. I just want you to know that these power surges from the sun always have this effect on us, but right now, back to back to back. So comes in the joy and the bliss, and then we relieve ourselves. The old energy goes out, right? We take a deep breath, like, I need a break from this. But what I'm saying is, we're not getting a break from it. It's back to back to back solar flares. And that is designed to catalyze and shift the frequency to a higher timeline on planet Earth and the universe that we live in. That is why you came here. So your personal fuse box is within you to catalyze you to course correct so that the fuse blowing situation for you is less. Okay? It requires less effort. It brings less anxiety. When you disengage from the things that do not serve you, you will no longer blow a fuse, okay? It'll be more like a mild interruption or a milder integration of the energy. But everyone needs a lot more water and a lot more rest and a lot more physical exercise right now because the storms are back to back to back to back to back. Okay. This is helping so that this solar cycle is set up this way. Okay. This entire thing is by fantastic, amazing God design, if you will, or source creation designed to catalyze us personally to the highest evolution of self and the highest evolution of humanity as a civilization, not only for Earth, but for our sector of the universe. We're probably in the middle of another X-class flare right now. So I'm not seeing any more comments coming or anything else. So hopefully we are rolling and this is working well. This can't be a long video because my phone itself, not only me, but my phone itself has been overheating today. So this energy is here to invite us to really get in touch with the shifting frequency. The shifting frequency is imperative if we are to change the dynamic, the program, the situation, and the dynamic on planet Earth, within medicine, within government, within the music industry, within health and fitness. Everything that needs to be changed, everything that needs to be revolutionized is being revolutionized because of this changing frequency and energy coming from the sun. Okay. This is supposed to be an adventure. I know there are days when you don't want to eat or you feel like you're eating everything that's not nailed down. There are days you don't want to get out of bed. There are days you want to get out of bed and dance down the middle of the street and jump for joy because things are really manifesting quickly. The world is really changing. People are becoming aware. People are waking up really fast. But most importantly, the way we shift our reality right now is we shift our own lives through our self-confidence. Whatever I decide to do, I have to be self-confident in that. Hello, Dawn. Right? So I can't show up and do a video and lack confidence to be able to come out here and speak the sometimes weird and bizarre and crazy sounding things that I talk about. I cannot do that. Dawn does that also for a living. Neither one of us can do that without being confident in the fact that we are taking well enough care of our body, mind, spirit to connect, body, mind, and spirit connection to know what is the correct course for us and what is the correct alignment for us to be in, to live in, to stay in, to breathe in. And I can't show up in less than self-confident, right? Because changing the world begins with changing my life, and changing my life or changing the world, they're the same. They start through self-confidence. It doesn't matter if it's a landscaping job or a consultation or it's talking to someone in the bank. You have to know yourself, treat yourself really fairly, really justly, very compassionately treat yourself so that you can be incredibly self-confident in whatever it is that you decide to take on. And that doesn't mean egotistical or that we think that we're always right. But it takes a lot of guts, okay, to get out there and do what I do, or many of you do, and do these podcasts or write these blogs or make videos about things that, you know, people will show up on this platform and call me crazy or want to talk about my lips or all these other very distracting things. We have to stay in our peace and our self-confidence so that we can come through straightforward and transparent and invite our lives to shift through self-confidence, which then shifts our entire reality through self-confidence. Many people right now are experiencing what I'm going to call compassion fatigue, okay? And of course, we should always have compassion for all human life, all sentient life on this planet, okay? But we all have people and jobs or situations in our life that are physically, mentally exhausting and draining. We want to be compassionate. We want to show compassion. We want to be light. We want to show the way. But at what point am I being compassionate to you or to my neighbor or to the business down the street that is detrimental to myself and my own energy? And that's when we get into compassion fatigue. Again, it's so incredibly important to have compassion for yourself and this planet right now. But you've got to balance that compassion with self and not just give all your compassion away to situations outside of you, or you will become what I call passion fatigued. Okay? There's a fine line between helping people, and we always want to help and be compassionate towards people, but not to the point where it's detrimental to our lives, our happiness, our joy, our wellness, our self-confidence, or our compassion. Okay? We do not want to be in the space of being so compassionate that we are draining our energy and giving so much energy away to other people. Um, because those situations, those people, places, and things that we're showing all that compassion to the point of fatigue, drain us. And we have to have a way to replenish ourselves. Okay. And there's a really important thing. And with all this back to back to back solar energy, I cannot afford to process my family, my neighbors, my coworkers, all of their stuff too, right? We are always processing and always working to process and assimilate to everything that's going on around us. And but we have to really listen to ourselves too and know when we are giving away too much, because society is very, very, very stuck in a victim mentality right now. And I don't think that necessarily society has a natural proclivity to be stuck in this victimhood mentality, but social media is making sure that all the people that are whining and complaining about everything get more attention than the real problems that are going on. So everywhere I turn, even if I'm only on social media for an hour, people want to be treated this way, or they want to talk about all the crap that they see going on with this race versus this race, or I don't like how you talk to me, or I don't like the pronouns that you call me, or whatever. So right now it's imperative that we mind our own business. Okay, that is okay. I'm not going to get into this and take sides with race wars or political wars, or it's very different between being an activist and just standing up and saying, I feel so violated, I feel so victimized by the world who calls me by the wrong thing or looks at me the wrong way or whatever. I don't care what anybody looks like. I don't care what anybody dresses like, what their pronouns are, what their religious affiliation is, what their political affiliation is, any of it. I don't care about any of it. I care that we have unity consciousness and we are good to each other. And again, social media is really putting that out there and really propagating all this division within all the stuff that I mentioned within the last few minutes, to take our attention from failing banks, failing businesses, what I see is a crypto crash this year, and everything else that's either here or now barreling itself down the pike towards us. Okay. We need to look at where we are as a society. And it's really important to know when people are talking about being racist or feeling like other people are racist against them, or not liking someone's gender identity, or not liking someone's political affiliation or religious affiliation or any of that stuff. The biggest thing for you to know about that is whatever energy and judgment you carry in your own field about yourself, about your race, about your gender, about your political indoctrination, about your education, about your path in life, however you feel about yourself. And all of those things are how people treat you. Okay, they're not treating you a certain way because you're gay or because you're from Argentina or whatever. They're treating you that way because the energy in your field lacks the self-confidence, okay, to take responsibility for the energy in your own field. I will never, and no one can ever make me feel like a victim, because everyone is only showing us what we truly feel about ourselves. And there's no other way to say this, because I had a child out of wedlock, okay? And I knew 30 people who had children out of wedlock that got so much crap from their family, from their church, from the places they worked. They got it from everybody because they carried around the shame and the guilt that they had a child out of wedlock. And the difference is, in all the places I worked and all the family and situations and even the church, everything that I dealt with, no one ever said a word to me about having a child out of wedlock, because I didn't care. I didn't hold it against myself. I didn't have grief or shame or lack of self-confidence for having a child and not being married. Therefore, people were not reacting to my situation. People are always reacting to your energy and how you feel about yourself. Okay, it's the same way, whether it's a child out of wedlock or people in your religion look down on divorce, or you think someone's judging you for your color or your sexuality or your religion or your education or lack of education. They are judging you by your shame, your guilt, your joy, your hope, your faith, whatever you hold in your personal field around your body. However you feel about your life and your life situations are how people are going to react to you. So if you don't like the way people are reacting to you, that means you have to change how you think and feel about yourself and how you are reacting to yourself. Nobody is going to react to you any way that's different than the energy you carry in your field about how you judge yourself, how you look at yourself, how you feel about yourself, how determined, how confident, how positive you are. Okay? It's just not possible for people to do that. Now, people do not realize that they're saying, oh, well, Tina carries all this shame and guilt from this situation, therefore I'm going to interact and have a conversation and make her feel bad. It's all completely and totally, for the most part, unconscious. But when you have the energy of shame or guilt or anything like that, and you are worried or you have anxiety about how you show up for yourself in the world or who you are in the world, or comparing yourself to other people, people will feel that, they will know that, and unconsciously they will talk to you and or possibly even attack you on what your own issues are with yourself. Everyone else's issue with you is based on the energy you carry in your field and what you think and feel about your life, your situations. The last thing I want to talk about is the need for constant noise. Okay, so I'm on the phone and then I'm scrolling TikTok, and then I've got the TV on, and then I'm running, so I put music on, and I come home and there's, God forbid, a moment of silence, so I got to get on the phone and call my girlfriend. And Dawn and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago, and it was like we're figuring out when it was a good time to talk. And she's like, well, in the morning I do my own thing, I take my own space, I don't have phone conversations before this time. And I am the same way, okay? When I lay down to go to sleep, the phone goes on airplane mode. There is nobody that is going to disturb me. And I know people are concerned about family emergencies. My son is 29. He has never called me for a family emergency. So why would I feel like if I'm taking the time I need, the quiet space for myself, that he's now going to have a family emergency? Okay. And there are lots of people that keep their phones turned on. But this need to be on social media, watching videos, constantly, constantly, constantly engaging in noise, some sort of noise. Okay, so in other words, there's no quiet, right? And not that we need to be quiet all the time, but when we get to the point where we feel like, or we notice that we're getting in the habit of, oh, the TV has to be running in the background, or I have to have music on, or I have to be on the phone, or I have to be commenting on Facebook, on social media, or I have to be watching YouTube videos. Okay, all of those are very important parts of being human, of interacting with other people. But when we can't shut it off, it's a problem. And the reason that people don't want to shut that off is because when there is complete silence and none of those distractions, you have to sit with your own thoughts and your own fears and your own concerns. Okay, so that's a big thing for people. They don't want to sit in that quietness, that stillness, and hear what they believe are their own thoughts. Some of those thoughts are not positive, okay? But when you start doing this, you'll realize two things. One, it's the saving grace of your life and your positive attitude. And two, thoughts don't even come from you. So if you're worried about your washer and dryer breaking down, or you're worried about how you're going to tell your, family that you're changing jobs, or that you don't believe in Orthodox religion, or whatever it is for you, um, those things are coming from the collective. Okay. So when one person in the collective is saying, I wonder if unicorns really do exist, you're probably not going to be picking up on that unless you're over the top psychic, or you have the ability to remote view. Okay. Some of you do, and some of you are. Neither here nor there. The majority of the time, when you may be hearing concerns like, okay, my washer and dryer is going to go down, or God, I can't stand it when my in laws come to town. I don't even have in laws, okay? So, those kind of things should be a prompt to let you know that those thoughts are coming from the hive mentality of humanity. Again, one person thinking about a unicorn is probably not going to spark you to think, I wonder if unicorns really exist. He does. I met him. But when you have a group of people, right, that are all thinking about the same thing at the same time, it's going to bleed through to you. But you don't understand that if you never take the quiet time to listen to the thoughts. So let's say I hear a thought coming in, and I know that doesn't. Let's use the in-laws for example. God, I really hate when the in-laws come over. I wish I could just go on vacation, or lock the door and go to the lake because I know the in-laws are coming. I hear that kind of crap literally all the time, right? And I know it doesn't belong to me because I don't have in-laws. Okay, so you have to discern. Will you be hearing stuff, right? Your DNA is being turned on, and you are being up leveled. You are having downloads every millisecond at this point with the amount of solar flares we've had. So you are becoming more psychic, more clairaudient, more clairvoyant, more clairsentient. Everything is turning on and expanding in a way that humanity has not seen in this particular solar cycle. Okay, so your abilities really amping up means that you're more in tune with what are my neighbors having for dinner, or I'm hearing the thoughts of my neighbors, or I'm hearing the thoughts of hundreds of people in the collective that are worried about their in-laws coming over for Mother's Day, whatever it is. But know when you hear that, and you can say to yourself, wow, I'm hearing a lot of things external to me. I'm hearing a lot of chatter from humanity, but that doesn't mean I have to get involved with it or assume that that is my thought. But if you don't take that quiet time and you're constantly going from one fixation of noise to another fixation of noise, it can be very, very scary and alarming at first when everything's silent and you're like, what is all this crap? What are all these thoughts? Where is this coming from? God, I better turn the TV on. Let me watch somebody else's life. Let me listen to someone else's lecture or podcast or whatever it is so that I don't have to hear what's going on. But we are advancing to the point where we will not only hear our neighbors and our coworkers, when we're not even around them, we are also hearing the hive mind of human mentality when you have a group of people. And with this many people on the planet, of course, we're going to have lots of people thinking about Mother's Day this weekend and not necessarily wanting to deal with the in-laws or not knowing what to get the mother or feeling grief because the mother is gone on Mother's Day. Okay, so all these things will be bleeding through right now and this weekend. And you may think, why are these things coming through to me? They're coming through to you because they're so heavy in the collective. It's important that we don't avoid having quiet time. Okay. The reason that we don't like silence is that means in that silence, we have to deal with whatever is coming up for us. And most people do not want to do that. It's getting hotter by the minute in here. Okay, so I haven't had a chance to do anything. I had a 3-hour reading today with TJ, who is a 16-year-old, and I just want to tell you what I told him. There are so many, not to be exclusive, 40 to 70-year-olds that are really struggling with doing this particular work and showing the light and being the way in a chaotic environment that most of us are at some level of burnout or another. But you will be happy to know um, that there is many generations that are here to back us up. And the difference between his generation, I don't get into all the names, and so I don't know what generation is named what, and I don't care. Okay, but he's 16 years old. He understood everything that I was saying. A lot of times I talk to people in their 60s or 70s, and they're like, I get your general vibe, it's positive, but honestly, I don't know what you're saying. The 16-year-old totally and completely understood everything I said today for 2.5 hours. He knows he came here with a purpose, and that is to unite humanity in the age of Aquarius, to follow his own North Node in Aquarius and get this stuff done in a way that is positive and passionate to us on an individual level. Okay. And I told him it is so very exciting because my son's generation's in their late 20s, early 30s. My sister's kids, all my extended relatives. There aren't really very many people in the family. We have one relative that's in his age bracket. Okay. The difference between his age bracket, the teenage age bracket, okay, which I know I hear all over social media are a bunch of spoiled brats. Okay. Let's not include everyone in that age group here. Okay, so the ones that are in my age group between 40 and 65, that's a majority of you watching this channel. We've been through a lot of hard stuff. We've done a lot of course correction. We came in knowing exactly what to do, and we got discolored or discombobulated or disillusioned or kind of taken out of our personal peace by the fact that things have taken so long. The difference is with the teenage generation, they know exactly what they came in here to do. They don't have to go through all the grief and transition out the other side. I was absolutely blown away. And so Nancy reached out to me. Nancy is my age and said, my son wants a reading. And I said, have him look over and see what kind of reading he wants. And he messaged me and said he wanted a North Node, South Node destiny reading. And I was blown away that a 16-year-old would want that. Okay. These teenagers are mind-blowing. Okay. The last thing I want to say about this is we need to treat everyone like they are here for the highest service of humanity. I'm not saying that everyone is here for the highest service of humanity. They don't act like it. They don't think like it. They don't look like it. they don't feel like it because they're not here for the highest service of humanity. But so many people have asked me and come to me with, how do I maneuver around? What if I go on a date with this person and I can't trust them? What if I work for this person or take this job and they're dishonest and it doesn't work out? Our main job, whether we're dealing with 80-year-old corporate executives or 16-year-old neighbors mowing the lawn, our main job right now is to act self-confident and say, I know this person's coming and knocking on my door and showing up to me because I'm the love of their life, not because they want to take advantage of me. I know this person is offering me this job because they see my worth, my talents, and my skills, okay? So not everybody has your best interest at heart. Not everybody has your highest good at heart. But when you treat everybody as if they do, one of two things happen. They will either show you the real reason that they are there in your life in any people, place, or thing, capacity, job, relationship, whatever. They will either show you why they're there and that they are loyal and that they mean what they say, okay? Or by you just simply acting that everyone has your highest good and your best interest at heart, that person will either shift into having your best interest at heart or they will disappear. I cannot tell you the amount of times women say, oh, this person reached out to me, this person asked me on a date. Well, how do I know that he doesn't have 5 other girlfriends or, all other things like that, right? Who cares? Because if you act like he showed up because you are all that, because he thinks you're something special and wonderful and beautiful and creative and talented, he's going to express that to you. And if you act like that's how he feels about you and he doesn't, or she doesn't, or they don't, whomever, they're going to just fall away. It makes it so much easier than meeting people, whether that's prospective business or bosses or clients or, you know, partners, instead of putting everybody on trial and making them prove themselves. Just act like and acknowledge the fact that everybody is showing up in your reality for the highest version of you, okay? And for all the right reasons. And they will either then be there for all the right reasons or they will disappear. They will fall away. They will stop contacting you. They will find something else better to do. And if they're just there to suck energy and pretend and, be a player, they'll disappear like so many do. Okay. Doing versus thinking. You may understand the concept of things. You may have a conceptual idea of here's how meditation works conceptually, right? But are you doing it? You may have the conceptual idea that exercise is really good for me. I should be doing this. Body, mind, spirit connection through exercise. But am I doing it? Doing things versus thinking about things, right? I know I should do this. I feel like I should do this. I'm called to do this. Are you conceptualizing or are you actualizing? Are you going to sit around and be stuck in your head and think about what you want to do or how you want to change your life or start an exercise program or change the world or whatever it is for you? Are you reading and studying and being analytical and conceptual? Or are you stepping out the door, getting in the car, getting on the plane, the train, whatever it is? Are you taking a chance? Are you taking a leap of faith? And are you doing it? You can study about it and read about it and watch videos about it, conceptualize and get stuck in your brain about something forever. Okay? But it makes no difference when you are conceptualizing and intellectualizing. You have to get out there and do. Just like the lady said, you know what? I don't think you make enough money. I don't think you qualify. I don't think you understand how much rent is. She even went so far as to tell me how much a year's rent was going to be. I was like, I have the deposit in my pocket. And she's like, I have the key in mine. There you go. I'm confident. I got this. It may not look like on paper or on my bank account or on my bank statement like I got this, but I got this. I got this. Our influence, our light, our leading by example comes from the confidence in self. And not that we're right, not that we're egotistical, and not that we have all the answers, but that we can move and shift and change with the energy. Okay? So that we are free to choose what feels amazing, what feels transparent, what feels honest, what feels like an adventure. Okay? How old are you? Are you 32? Are you 57? It doesn't make a difference. We came here to have an adventure. And if you won't get in the car or get on the train or take that flight and make that choice and step out there and take that chance, you're not having an adventure. When you're having an adventure, things might not go your way, but when you are self confident, everything that's meant for you is going to go your way. That's how I'm here. That's how I'm in this apartment. It went my way because this is what I wanted. This is what I'm getting. I got the check. I'm going to give you the check. I know you think that I'm not capable of this, but that's not true. That's not reality. I make so much more money than you think. I'm doing so much more than you think. Business is so much better than what I made last year because every person's yard I did tells 3 people. Okay, that's why I haven't had a day off in like 16 days. Also, I wanted to rack up the money to pay for all the things that I couldn't pay for while I wasn't working for 2 months, while I was driving up and down the road working on the grid on the East Coast. We make a sacrifice of physical money and physical things for planetary work and positive shifts in humanity. But we have to be free to move about and be called to do what we need to do, okay? And not be stuck in things that are not an adventure, that don't feel innocent, right? You could be 53 years old like me. You could have dated multiple people. You could have been in all kinds of living situations, relationship situations. None of them ever worked out. Nobody ever saw who you really were at the core, at the essence. No, or if they did see a spark of that, it wasn't their thing. They weren't interested. I could easily say, you know what? I'm going to be 54 in October. It's never happened. Therefore, it's never going to happen. I could easily say that. No one's ever proposed to me, right? I've never had an engagement ring. I'm 53. I could just tell myself, you know what? That's not in the cards. It wasn't meant to be. But that's not what I tell myself. Because I'm here, you're here, we're all here to narrate a story, right? And whatever story you're telling is how that's going to happen. And my story is, you know what? That person, just like me, had a whole lot to course correct. And when that course correction has been done, and I know now that it has, that person shows up. Just because they couldn't show up before or they didn't show up when I was in my 20s or in my 30s when we were wild and, oh my God, why didn't we meet when we were younger? Right? We had a lot to learn, right? There's no way 20-year-old me could have handled 24-year-old you, okay? It wouldn't have been possible, right? So what? We meet in our 50s. Doesn't mean it's over. Doesn't mean it's not happening. It's happening, and it's happening at the speed of light, like everything else for me right now. This is our story of the planet, our story of the sector of the universe, the omniverse, all of it. What story are we going to tell? I want to tell the story of love and peace and abundance, of prosperity, not for self, but for everyone. Abundance, growth, love, connection. That's the reason we came here, right? Does it matter that you waited till I was 53 years old to show up? No, it doesn't. Because that's the way it was meant to be. And everything is always working out the way it's supposed to be. And no matter what happens, if you make that assumption, everything will always be working out the way it should be, right? I made this example to TJ earlier, who's 16, when I was doing his reading. I said, you might be an offender bender. You might be really upset. Wow, I'm 16. I just started driving and now I'm an offender bender. What are my parents going to think? What are the police going to say? Oh my God, I have all this anxiety. But what if instead of going there, wow, 33 people and 3 likes, 333. But what if instead of taking my heart into that space of anxiety and oh my God, what have I done? What's going to happen? Just saying, wow, even though I don't know why this happened and I can't see why this happened for a reason. And my car is not totaled. I am absolutely fine. It was a fender bender and it happened so that I was in the right place at the right time, or it kept me from being in another place at the wrong time. And if you are always looking at everything that way, everything, and not only looking at everything that way, but also assuming that people have your best interest at heart and that everything is always working out for you and that you can love and create and manifest anything you want, guess what? That's the way reality is. Whatever story you're telling about yourself, your family, the world, that's the story that we're going to see play out in ourselves, in our life, in our personal life, in our families, and in the world. Let's just change our story. I have never, ever, ever, as long as I've been manifesting, changed my tune or changed my story so fast in my entire life. And I'm telling you, I almost felt called to do an apartment tour just so I can show you what I manifested in a matter of days. Okay. The thing is, when we have back to back to back solar flares, especially when they're medium or moderate to high M class through X class, you're in a constant state of flux. You're in a constant state of evolution. You're in a constant state of movement. You're in a constant state of up leveling. When the energy is that high, there is no veil. Like I said, you can talk to whoever you want to talk to on the other side. You can manifest whatever you want to manifest. Instant, when I say instant, I don't mean, hey, gee, knock on my door and knock, knock, knock. There he is, though it wouldn't surprise me. But I mean the manifestation, instant manifestation where we're at now. We're not Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, not tonight, maybe tomorrow, where we click our heels together and say, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home. But it's becoming more and more instantaneous. And I know these solar things can make you sweaty. So I'm sweating right now, really bad. Make you tired, they can make you anxious, right? Because when that solar flare comes in, you are moving at a molecular level that you can't see. Okay? It's burning calories in a way that you can't see. It's moving your body internally at a molecular level that can become exhausting. So you need more rest, you need more hydration stuff. And I really, 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 besides just doing water, citrus is almost imperative, especially things high in vitamin C. So lemon, oranges, grapefruit, pineapple are super imperative. High levels of vitamin C. You are burning and transmuting at a rate that I don't think you understand, right? Now, if we could see inside our body, we had a little magical machine where we could see within us, we would be like, wow, I can't believe I'm transforming and upgrading at this speed of light. But we are. So take it easy on yourself, okay? And the last thing is, when these things come up for release with back-to-back solar flares, don't judge it as it came up. It's like when you got sick and when you vomit, right? When you vomit, you can taste what made you sick. That's always the way. So when you are releasing and transmuting and purging, that divorce might be the thing that you taste when it come up, or a bad marriage, or a car accident, or being raised in a dysfunctional household. Whatever it is that you're releasing, you're going to feel a little bit of that as it's coming up, just like you would if you got sick and it was to literally come up. It's not coming up for any other reason than to be released from your body. So if it comes up and you think, why am I thinking about this? And you get back into the drama of it again, it's a recreation or a reenactment of it. So I'm telling you this, that so when these things come back up, you can say, oh, wow, I must finally be purging the relationship with an ex, or I must finally be transmuting what happened when I was treated really poorly by somebody with some very narcissistic behavior or abuse or whatever, okay? It doesn't mean that you're going to live it for the rest of your life. It means that back to back to back solar flares mean you don't have a second, um, really, in the purging process to acclimate. You just have to know whatever negativity is rising up. And I don't mean your future thoughts, but if you're having negative things come up, patterns, divorce, religion, education, working for crappy people, whatever's coming up is coming up to be purged. It's not coming up so you can get into the drama of it or reenact it, have a what do they call that on TV when they're dramatization, reenactment or something, right? We don't need any more drama. We don't need to process any more stuff than our own. Okay, try not to get yourself into compassion fatigue where we are being so compassionate that we are draining ourselves of our own life force energy. Whatever's coming up and purging up is coming up to be let go of. I thank you so, so, so much for being here. And until next time. Oh, the last thing I forgot to say is, yes, I am still doing readings because of the amount of work I've taken on in landscape design at the current moment, on top of also not only designing it, but getting out there and shoveling it and planting it and whatever else. I need more advance notice for readings unless you want a quick, like 45-minute impromptu reading. That can be done last second. If you message me in the morning, I can usually do it in the evening. Anything that requires a transcript is going to require probably a week out at this point. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your love, your honor, support. Thank you for the people that are always here in positivity and not showing up for any other reason or any other judgment. Okay. And to all those people, I'm not reading the comments, being here and making negative comments, whatever you're saying to yourself, and I'm saying this because it's happened for the last many, many weeks. Whatever you are saying to me is how you really feel about yourself, not me, because you don't know me, and I love you anyway. Okay? Until next time. Bye.